Students, last class actually I have started with the course content, and then we have discussed about the sources of water and what are the treatments required for the different sources of water. Okay, it's like a basic introduction to that wastewater. Okay, before moving to the wastewater, then we should know about the water and then their characteristics as well as the treatment. Okay, then today I will start with the wastewater. As we all know that, okay, the water after the usage. Okay, generally, initially we are getting the water from different sources that can be treated with respect to the different treatment units like plain sedimentation or sedimentation aided with the coagulation, filtration, then disinfection. Sometimes then we have to go with a recarbonation if the source is from the groundwater. Then the treated water is stored in the underground storage sump. Okay, then it is transferred to the community through the distribution system. Okay, then water after usage, it may be turned as a wastewater. Okay, here you can see that wastewater is any water that has been affected by the human use. Okay, wastewater is used water from any combination of, it may be from domestic or from industries or from agricultural activities, or it may be from surface runoff from agricultural land, or it may be like a storm water, or any sewer inflow or sewer infiltration is termed as the wastewater. Okay, then where does our wastewater go? Okay, now maybe the human beings or the industries, okay, they are generating huge amount of the wastewater. Okay, now we have to see that, okay, how it is being disposed. Okay, then you can see in this picture, okay, here we can like urban area is there, it's mainly the residential community, then maybe the industrial sector, okay, they are generating the wastewater. Generally it is called as industrial wastewater. Then if it is from the urban community, it is called as the domestic wastewater, or we can say municipal wastewater. Okay, then after its generation, it may be collected through the system of like a network of pipes that is called as sewers. Okay, for example, in water supply, we used to call it as a water supply. We used to call uh, the material that is carrying the water is generally pipes, or we used to say conduits. Or here we are saying like a sewer. Okay, it's like a pipe material that is carrying the wastewater is called as the sewer. Okay, through the sewer system, sewerage system. Okay, we are carrying the wastewater to the treatment plant. Okay, this is the treatment plant. It can be treated, and then after its treatment, it is discharged into nearby water bodies. It is depending on the purpose. Sometimes the treated wastewater can be reused for gardening. Okay, sometimes it can be discharged directly into the river bodies, or it can be used for irrigation and other things. Okay, maybe flushing purpose. Okay, it depends on the reuse. Okay, sometimes maybe flushing. If you are giving a good treatment techniques to the wastewater, then it can be used as a drinking water also. Okay, therefore the wastewater after its generation can be collected through the sewers and then taken to the treatment plant where it is treated for the removal of all solids like dissolved solids and suspended solids. Especially it contains a lot of organic solids that we will see later. And then finally it's a general treatment, conventional treatment techniques. Okay, after conventional treatment, it is disposed into nearby water bodies. Okay, then next here you can see the the classification. Okay, that waste water. Okay, liquid waste, we never used to call that one as a waste, it is called as waste water. Okay, the water after its usage, okay, can be turned as a wastewater. You can see the composition of the wastewater. The wastewater is contains lot of like biodegradable organics. Okay, biodegradable organics and nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, and then microorganisms. It's a combination of like biodegradable organics, nutrients, and microorganisms. In addition to that, sometimes it may contain like the micronutrients like sulfur, iron, and calcium. Then this is the composition of the municipal wastewater. If it is from the industries, it depends on the the product. Okay, what they are manufacturing in the industry. Therefore, it may contain some hazardous chemicals also. And then coming to the typical composition of the wastewater, generally wastewater, or we used to call it as a raw wastewater, contains 99.9% water. This is very important. Okay, that's why we are calling it as a wastewater. It is not a waste. It is not a semi-solid, or it is not a completely solid. It is a wastewater because the major portion in the wastewater is the water. The remaining like 0.1% is the solids. Okay, this is only creating lot of problem in the surrounding environment. If you are discharging with the 0.1% solids, that is full of organic in nature, mostly 70% of the solids are organic in nature, and then it is creating lot of problems to the environment. For example, if you are discharging this organic impurities in the water or in the receiving water without any treatment, it may consume lot of dissolved oxygen in the water. That I will explain later. And then the remaining 30% is inorganic. Now in the organic, the major fraction is like the proteins, carbohydrates and fats. Okay, therefore we have to give importance to the removal of organics in the wastewater. Okay, in the water we have studied, we have to remove the turbidity, then we have to remove the fine solids. Okay, also we have to remove the disease causing pathogens. That is the objective in water treatment, whereas in case of wastewater, the main objective is to remove the removal of organics like carbohydrates, proteins and fats from the wastewater. Then inorganic salts like grit, salts and metals, okay, these are all maybe present in very lesser amount in the wastewater. Therefore, it will not create, the inorganic constituents will not create any problem to the environment. Therefore, you have to give importance to the removal of organics in the wastewater treatment. Therefore, as wastewater means, you should know that okay, it is 99% water and 0.1% solids. Out of that, 70% is the organic in nature. Then here just I have explained here that what are the different things we have studied, like solids 70 to 30. 70 is organic, 30 is the inorganic. Okay, therefore this 70% solids to be removed. Okay, even the 30% inorganic like sediments also to be removed prior to the discharge into the water bodies. And then soluble organics. Soluble organics are like proteins are in the form of amino acids. Then carbohydrates like sugar, starch, cellulosic compounds are considered as of carbohydrates, and then fats, oils and grease are coming under lipids category. Okay, these soluble organics should be converted into stable form like carbon dioxide. Especially we are concentrating with the carbohydrates. Okay, that should be converted into carbon dioxide before it can be discharged into nearby water bodies. That's what we are doing with the in the wastewater treatment. The main objective is to removal of the organics. The removal means we are converting the carbohydrates, okay, in the wastewater into carbon dioxide. At the outlet, okay, you have only less amount of organics because the remaining is converted into carbon dioxide. Okay, then waterborne pathogens like bacteria, viruses, protozoa, some these are maybe directly hazard to the public health. And then generally the coliform bacteria is used as an indicator of disease causing organisms. For example, they will do the coliform test in the water. If it shows a positive results for coliform, we can say that disease causing pathogens are present in the water. Okay, therefore this is an indicator organisms. Then other components like nitrogen and phosphorus, okay, that are all may be present in the wastewater with a less amount. And then the BOD, okay, we are measuring the organics. Okay, we are measuring the organics in terms of BOD and COD. Okay, we are measuring the organics in terms of BOD and COD, that I will explain later. BOD is the biochemical oxygen demand. Biochemical oxygen demand. And then COD is the chemical oxygen demand. These two parameters are very important in wastewater. Whereas in case of water, the BOD should be nil in drinking water. The water should be free from biodegradable organics. Okay. Then here you can see the variation in flow, BOD and suspended solids in municipal wastewater. You can see that, okay, there is a fluctuations in the wastewater, that quantity of wastewater generation rate with respect to the time. It depends on the mainly the time as well as the habits of the people. Okay, you can see that initially the it may be less at 12 midnight, and then it will come down, and then it will slowly increase. Okay, it will reach the peak value around maybe 10 a.m. in the morning, and then it may come down. Okay, in addition to that, you can see the like the characteristics of the wastewater, like suspended solids and BOD. Okay, it will also go along with if there is a high flow, and then you can see that BOD also may be high. The reason is that, okay, especially in the morning time and then the afternoon and all, okay, that is especially the wastewater from the kitchen may contribute the biodegradable organics. Okay, also the large amount of suspended solids. Okay, that may be the reason that you can expect the high value of the BOD, especially maybe in the afternoon and the night time period. Okay, during the the afternoon time, okay, especially maybe the office going people, okay, because we are discussing with the domestic wastewater, maybe it can be treated separately in their premises itself, in the office premises itself, or sometimes the wastewater flow may not come to the original like the sewer that is located in the particular community. Okay, that may be the reason. Okay, because some office like premises, they used to have a separate like a treatment system. Therefore, there is a reduction in the flow, especially in the afternoon time. But again, night time you can see that, okay, there is a slight increase in the wastewater flow rate. And then coming to the characteristics. Okay, anyway, this I want to discuss you regarding that with the different parameters. One is with the BOD, COD, then TOC is the total organic carbon. Anyway, that and all I will explain what is BOD, what is COD later. But you see the values. Okay, crude means it is a raw sewage or raw wastewater, untreated wastewater. Okay, having like a BOD as around 300, then CODs 700. Okay, that I will just explain why there is a differences between the COD and COD. Okay, you can see here the COD is like 700. Okay, BOD is only 300. That means in your wastewater you have only out of 700, 300 is the biodegradable portion of organic matter. Biodegradable means that organic matter should be degraded by means of microorganisms. Okay, then the remaining is, it is not degraded by microorganisms. Therefore, we should go with some different measurement techniques, okay, to oxidize the entire organic matter present in the wastewater. Okay, is it clear? For example, we have started with the organic matter, organic solids or organic matter. Okay, this organic matter, again we are saying like biodegradable organic matter, biodegradable, and inert or non-biodegradable. Okay, we can classify the based on the biodegradability. We can classify this as biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Okay, biodegradable means, for example, bacteria may act on this. Okay, convert this biodegradable organic matter into carbon dioxide, then water, plus some it may generate some new cells. For example, if it is in a nitrogenous matter, okay, this is, if it is in a carbonaceous matter, it can be converted into carbon dioxide. If it is in a nitrogenous matter, it can be converted into nitrate. Then if it is sulfurous organic matter, it may be converted into sulfate. Is it clear? Therefore, if biodegradable means it can be easily degraded by, or it can be easily consumed by microorganisms and can be converted into like carbon dioxide, nitrate and sulfate. These are the some end products of the degradation process. Okay, then inert, okay, because microorganisms cannot act on that. Okay, cannot be degraded by microorganisms. Some fraction of organic matter cannot be degraded by microorganisms. That is called as inert or non-biodegradable organic matter, non-biodegradable fraction of organic matter. Therefore, in order to oxidize the entire, like for example, you have organic solids. Okay, our objective is we have to remove the complete organic solids. That means we have to convert the organic solids into carbon dioxide. Therefore, we have to go with a chemical oxidation. Therefore, in the maybe we can estimate the like how much amount of oxygen is required chemically to oxidize the entire organic matter. That is called as chemical oxygen demand. I think, is it clear with what is BOD and COD? BOD is dealing with how much amount of oxygen is required to degrade biodegradable portion of organic matter. Okay, that is called as BOD. COD means, okay, the oxygen requirement includes both for biodegradable and inert, or we can say non-biodegradable fraction of organic solids. Students, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Therefore, here you can see that crude means like a raw wastewater. Settled means after primary sedimentation. Primary sedimentation, the effluent. Okay, the after maybe you are allowing the settling of the sewage in the sedimentation tank maybe for a period of 2 to 4 hours. During that time, the suspended solids may settle down at the bottom. Then you have the clear supernatant at the top. If you are measuring the characteristics of BOD and COD in the treated effluent, that shows only BOD as 175. 175 is mostly in the soluble form because the suspended impurities are settled at the bottom of your primary unit. And then this one is the final effluent. This is after biological treatment. Okay, because we are using the microorganisms, not the pathogenic. Those who are really, some microorganisms may be helpful in the wastewater treatment. We are using that bacteria for the conversion of the soluble organic matter into like carbon dioxide, nitrate and sulfate. Okay, therefore the final effluent, the supernatant contains only 20 milligram per liter of BOD. That may be within the permissible limit of that. Actually, there is a limit for discharge of these effluents into nearby water bodies. Therefore, we have to refer that. Okay, BOD should be less than 20, COD should be less than 30. Okay, therefore, if you are going with the conventional treatment, okay, then it may remove the BOD. Okay, like maybe we can achieve the BOD value less than 20 milligram per liter. And then these are the different values. You just remember this. It is not necessary to mug up it, but you can just see the differences between the raw sewage settled like after settlement, okay, or in the primary sedimentation tank, what will be the characteristics, then what will be the final characteristics of the wastewater. Okay, now we see the impact of untreated wastewater. Impact of untreated wastewater. For example, most of the municipalities, okay, now only they are just moving towards the construction of the wastewater treatment plant. Okay, otherwise what they used to do is like they used to discharge into nearby water bodies in as such without any treatment. Okay, then the first one is that impact of untreated wastewater with suspended solids. The main problem, for example, I will just go with the other sheet, then I will explain. Okay, the first one is assume that this is the river stretch. You are discharging the wastewater without any treatment. It contains lot of suspended solids, lot of BOD like biodegradable organics. Okay, now the main problem in the receiving water body with the suspended solids is like because suspended solids used to have a specific gravity slightly greater than 1. Then what will happen? This will settle very near to the inlet. That means very near to the discharge itself, discharge point itself. It may settle at the bottom of the river bank. Okay, this is because suspended solids also have like organic in nature, organic suspended solids. Then this will, because it will demand oxygen. Okay, so we can generally be used, it will create a suspended BOD. That is, it creates like because it will undergo oxidation. The wastewater contains lot of microorganisms. Therefore, you have organics. Then you have like the river water used to have like sufficient amount of oxygen. Then bacteria is present in your wastewater. Then it will undergo decomposition. Then it leads to production of carbon dioxide plus water plus some new cells. These are the end products. Then in the absence of oxygen, for example, if the demand is more, okay, if it consumes more amount of oxygen, then after some period of time that oxygen may not be there in the river water, then the organics may undergo anaerobic decomposition. This is in the presence of oxygen. Some bacteria may survive in the absence of oxygen. Then it's called anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria may convert this organic matter into methane and carbon dioxide. Okay, these are the end products of aerobic process and anaerobic process. That means if the reaction takes place in the presence of oxygen by aerobic bacteria, that is called as aerobic process. If the reaction takes place in the absence of, or we can say instead of reaction, we can say if the degradation takes place in the absence of oxygen, that is called as like anaerobic process. The end products are methane and carbon dioxide. Now you can see this. Yeah, you can see that the suspended solids cause sludge deposits. Okay, it may deposit at the bottom of the river, and then it creates anaerobic environment, because generally the bottom portion is having like less dissolved oxygen when compared to the top portion. Okay, therefore it creates anaerobic environment in the aquatic environment, anaerobic conditions in aquatic environment. And then next one is the biodegradable organics. Okay, the biodegradable organics cause biological degradation, which may use up oxygen in receiving water and result in undesirable conditions. That's why you can see that, okay, maybe over a period of time, okay, I am just drawing the plot of dissolved oxygen with respect to the distance in the river. This is the point of discharge. Okay, initially, if the water is free from pollution, the dissolved oxygen may be 8 milligram per liter. But once if you are discharging the pollutant, that is especially with the biodegradable organics, then it may demand oxygen, it may consume oxygen, therefore the oxygen may come down. Okay, oxygen may come down. Okay, once the organic degradation is over, then the oxygen concentration will slowly increase in the river and reach the saturation value. Okay, it may be like this, may be 2 milligram. Sometimes the profile will go like this. That means there is no oxygen. Between this point to this point in the river, there is no dissolved oxygen. It means it is zero value. It is completely anaerobic condition. Okay, this place is not suitable for point of like water abstraction. You should not take the water at this point for drinking purpose. Okay, therefore the mathematical modeling helps, okay, to identify the locations where we can withdraw the water for drinking purpose. Okay, therefore it is creating lot of undesirable conditions, okay, in the river stretch. Then pathogens, if the wastewater contains pathogens, then it may transmit communicable diseases. And then nutrients, the main problem with the nutrients are like eutrophication. That is the main problem that you have to, maybe especially with the stagnant water bodies. Okay, the presence of nitrogen and phosphorus leads to the growth of algal plants. It's a green color plant, okay, algal plants that may form a mat on the surface of the water body. Okay, it prevents the penetration of sunlight. Okay, once the nutrients gets exhausted, then automatically what will happen? The algal plants will die and then sinks to the bottom. That is also again it is an organic. Therefore, it induces more amount of BOD to the water. Therefore, the removal of nutrients are very, very important in order to take care of the stagnant water bodies. And then presence of heavy metals, it may accumulate, okay, in the living tissues. Especially it may accumulate because it will not degrade. Heavy metals and all will not be degraded by microorganisms. It can be accumulated in the living tissues. And then dissolved inorganic solids. It may not have that much impact on the aquatic environment, but it should not be more than the water like a permissible limits. Okay, especially the sodium chloride, salt and all should not be more than the permissible limit. Otherwise, the main problem is with suspended solids, especially it may settle at the bottom. Then biodegradable organics, it may demand oxygen, then pathogens, and then nutrients. Okay. Then one more thing I forgot about that, that is the refractory organics. This is especially from the industrial wastewater. Okay, refractory organics. Refractory organics means it's an organic compound, more of like a inert fraction. Okay, municipal wastewater organics have like more of biodegradable, more of biodegradable bio, whereas industrial wastewater, the organics are less biodegradable, but it is inert. They are inert in nature, cannot be degraded by microorganisms. Therefore, we have to go for some chemical oxidation methods, okay, to treat the industrial wastewater. That's why that is called refractory organics. I can give one examples like dye compounds. In the textile industries, they are using the dyes. Okay, the dyes are fully organic nature, but it cannot be degraded by microorganisms. Therefore, you cannot go with the conventional method by using microorganisms. We cannot treat that wastewater. We have to go with some specific treatment techniques like advanced oxidation process using some radicals to oxidize the organic matter. And then, okay, these are the main problems with the different pollutants in the receiving water bodies. If it is not treated, if they are discharging as such, then it will create a lot of problems in the environment. Okay, the same thing I have explained here. Maybe you can go through this. And then now coming to the wastewater. Okay, we'll see that in the wastewater, we'll see what are the different classifications. Okay, with the respect to the origin, with the respect to the characteristics, it might be classified into like a domestic waste. With respect to the source, it may be like a domestic, and then industrial, and then hospital wastewater, or we can say biomedical wastewater or something like that. Okay, whereas with respect to the characteristics, okay, maybe it's called as like a sanitary, non-sanitary wastewater, that we will see now. Students, do you have any doubts regarding the like previous one? What are things we have discussed? If you have anything, then we will discuss. Any doubts? Shall I move further? Yeah. Yeah. Two general types of wastewater are sanitary and non-sanitary. Okay, sanitary. It is the name itself implies that it may be contaminated with the human waste. Sanitary. Any wastewater that may be if it is contaminated with the waste like human waste, human excreta, especially from the urinals and from latrines, then it is considered as sanitary wastewater, or like a sanitary sewage. Non-sanitary, especially for example, if the waste is from only from kitchen, only from the laundries, okay, it is not contaminated with the human waste, that is called as non-sanitary wastewater. Then generally the domestic wastewater is referred as the sanitary wastewater, because it is a mixture of like wastewater from the kitchen, wastewater from the like bathrooms, then wastewater from the latrines. Okay, therefore it is a mixture of all like thing. Okay, therefore it is called as the sanitary wastewater, or otherwise it is called as the domestic wastewater. And then sometimes even from the industrial sector, okay, is also that we can expect the generation of the sanitary wastewater. Okay, if it is from process, it is called as industrial wastewater. If it is from the maybe from the canteens as well as from the toilets, then we can say like industrial sanitary wastewater. Okay. Therefore, it is sanitary. The term sanitary implies that any wastewater that may be contaminated with the human waste. Okay, here you can see the classification. Okay, wastewaters are from different sources like from domestic, industrial, and stormwater runoff. Okay, because we have like two types of system, like a sewer system. One is separate sewer system. Have you studied about separate sewer? Separate sewer. Then combined sewer system. What is combined separate sewer? If you have like two different conduits, one is for carrying the wastewater, that is called a sewer. One conduit for or pipe for carrying the storm water. Okay, that is, for example, in your community, if you have like two, one is sewer, another one is the stormwater drains. If you have, if it is designed like a with a separate, that is called separate sewer system. Okay, then combined means, okay, during the rain, okay, that generally they used to provide bigger diameter of the sewer in order to take care of the stormwater during the rainy season. That is called combined sewer system. Okay, is it clear? Therefore, we are considering the stormwater is also under wastewater category, because the excess stormwater after infiltration can be directed towards the treatment plant along with the domestic wastewater. Okay. Then, most of the places we used to have like a combined sewer system. We don't have two sewers, one for sewage, other for the stormwater. We used to have like a combined sewer system. Therefore, it carries both domestic and stormwater together. And then in the domestic, okay, again we are calling it as like grey water and black water. Grey means especially from the bathroom, laundry and kitchen is the grey water, or we can say it's a sullage. Okay, it is called sullage. And then black water is from the urine, and that fecal matter is generally considered as the black water. If you are mixing, generally this is called as, if it is domestic wastewater is a combination of grey water and black water. Therefore, it is called as the sanitary sewage. Sanitary means because this grey water is mixed with the human waste. Therefore, it is called as the sanitary sewage or sanitary wastewater. Students, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, for any community, okay, for example, NIT, we have like two different wastewater treatment system. One for hostel sector, one for like a hostel with residential community. Okay, even though you have a separate drains, maybe the in the house, maybe from the outlet of that latrine and outlet of your like a kitchen have separate outlets, but at the bottom they have like with a common connection. It is carried. It is whatever the human waste is coming from urines and that from the latrines are completely diluted with the water. Okay, that means the while reaching the treatment plant, you can see that 99.9% water and then 0.1% solids. It is called as, generally called as water conservancy system. Water conservancy. Generally in olden days, okay, they have like a dry system and water conservancy system or water carriage system. Okay, that because we are not disposing the fecal matter as in a dry form. Okay, we are just flushing with a huge quantity of water so that it can be completely diluted. That means in addition to that, okay, while mixing with the bathroom water and laundry and kitchen, it is completely in a liquid form. Okay, it is not in a semi-solid or in a solid form. Therefore, while reaching the treatment system, okay, it is 99.9% water and 0.1% solids. Then sources and quantities. Okay, the sources and quantities, especially we have to know that how to calculate the quantity of the wastewater. Generally, there is an assumption for municipal wastewater generation is 85% of water consumption. Okay, it is 85% of rate of water supply. Okay, then it is, or sometimes they will say the quantity of wastewater generation is per capita per day, this much liter per capita per day. Okay, it depends on the source from where the wastewater is generated. If it is from residential community, it may be like this much liters per capita per day. If it is from for a movie theater, they used to say this much liter per chair per day. Okay, therefore it depends on the sources. Okay, yeah, residential. Can see some examples here. Okay, average sanitary wastewater production in residential sources, it is 290 liters per capita per day. Okay, it is capita, it is per head. The wastewater generation rate is 290 liters. If it is a 5-member family, you can just multiply with 5 to get the quantity of wastewater generation. And then if you know the total population, we can find out how much will be the wastewater generation rate in your particular community. Then if it is from commercial, okay, for example, the units you can see here, hotels and motels, the units are like liter per person per day. Okay, whereas from movie theaters, it is expressed as liters per seat per day. For example, if you know the total number of seats in the movie theater, we can easily calculate the quantity of the wastewater generation from movie theater. If you know number of movie theaters, we can calculate as a whole. Then barber shop, okay, there it is the quantity of waste generation is per chair. Okay, therefore it depends on the locations. And then institutional, okay, institutional is especially from hospitals, and then school, and then rest homes, okay, prisons. Okay, these are the locations generally we used to call it as a institutional wastewater. Okay, for example, you can see that wastewater generation rate, the differences in day schools with cafeteria, okay, for with the without canteen, you can see that it is there it is 90, other one is 58. You can see the large differences. And then without gym and other things and all, even that quantity is coming down. Okay, it is also based on not only from the source, it also based on the facilities what you have inside in your premises. Okay, therefore it depends on the source as well as the facilities. Recreational, these are all seasonal locations. Okay, for example, you cannot expect a constant quantity of wastewater generation from recreational facility places. Okay, therefore these are the seasonal one. Then these are the that wastewater generation from the recreational facilities. Okay, it depends on the place. Then industrial, okay, industrial wastewater, or the quantity of the wastewater generation from the industries depends on the nature of the process. Okay, then but generally it is like toxic in nature. Then it contains high percentage of organic materials, but they are refractory organics. It cannot be degraded by microorganisms. That's why I have written no. Organic materials or solids which make treatment difficult. We cannot treat using microorganisms because that whatever the substances are, they are toxic to the microorganisms. Therefore, microorganisms cannot act on that. We have to go with some other methods. Then, yeah, these are the some examples for industrial wastewater production. Okay, from the cattle industry, then canning, dairy industry. You can see that some places they are using the unit as 40 meter cube of wastewater per metric ton of that what they are processing. Okay, it is some places it may be, for example, 0.5 liters per day. Especially from poultry industries, it is based on the chicken number of chickens. And then pulp and paper, it may be based on the quantity of the like metric ton. Okay, how the process. Then tanning also, it is like metric ton raw hides processed. Steel, okay, that is also metric ton. This much 290 meter cube per metric ton of that raw material processed. And then storm water. The storm water is especially during the rainy seasons. Okay, we can expect a huge quantity of that water, but it is low in pollutants. Generally, the rainwater is free from pollution. Therefore, while mixing this storm water with the wastewater, again that the constraints may be again complete, maybe diluted. Okay, that is the main advantage of mixing the wastewater with the storm water. Sometimes it may cause hydraulic overloading of the plant. During excess rainfall, it may cause, because generally we used to design it for particular maximum flow of this much. If it is more than that, okay, then that may reduces the hydraulic retention time, because volume is constant. If there is a fluctuation in Q, V by Q is equal to HRT, hydraulic retention time. Therefore, instead of 4 hours, it may come down to 2 hours. That may not be effective for the removal of suspended solids. Therefore, it may affect. Therefore, you have both positive benefit as well as the negative or negative impact also with the storm water. That you have to take care. Then main characteristics of the wastewater are like physical, chemical and biological parameters. Yeah, before moving to that, I want to ask some of the questions related to the characteristics. Okay. Can you just say what are the physical characteristics, what are the chemical characteristics, what are the biological characteristics? Students? Yeah, you have idea, you have some basic, yeah.
Physical is like turbidity, color, like that.
Okay.
Chemical is alkalinity, acidity, pH, and biological is BOD, COD, all these are.
Okay, biological is BOD, COD. Can we say biological? It's like a biochemical.
Biological is like pathogens, ma'am.
Pathogens. Biologicals are pathogens. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Physical, no, now we are not talking about the water, okay? We are talking about the wastewater. Can you tell me some of the physical characteristics of the wastewater? I will just list out.
Semi-solid.
No, wastewater. No, that's why I'm telling. No, it is not a semi-solid. It is 99% water only. It is water.
Yes,
okay, now physical characteristics. Okay, but you are seeing the wastewater. Maybe in your house, maybe in your community, while moving on the road, you are seeing the wastewater. Can you tell me what are the physical characteristics? What is physical?
Color, ma'am.
Which can be seen, ma'am. Which can be seen.
It can be seen
by
color. Okay. Yeah, color. Okay,
color,
fine.
Order,
and smell, bad smell.
Order,
color, odor.
Order.
These two can be easily, okay, we can visualize these two things very clearly, no? Color we can see, then odor also we can just to smell it, okay, while just moving near to that, we can easily just to smell that whether it is a bad odor or it is some other different odor, okay. Then other things, physical characteristics. These two things are fine, but what about the other things?
Type of solids.
Types of solids. Okay. Anything specific?
turbidity.
Turbidity. Okay, fine. You can say turbid or okay, water like wastewater is generally turbidity is not an important parameter in wastewater because already it's a wastewater, no?
Suspended solids.
Suspended solids. Okay, fine. Then, okay, chemical. pH.
BOD. BOD or pH value.
pH. Okay, BOD. Like so like no, we are measuring like biodegradable organics. Okay, especially the solids. We are discussing about the solids. Then BOD, nitrogen, phosphorus. Okay, sulfates, nitrates. As we are like no, we have discussed initially that solids.
And then release of some harmful gases.
Harmful gases. Okay. Then biological parameters, especially all like pathogens. Okay, these are coming under like physical, chemical, and biological characteristics of the wastewater. Yeah, you can see that like temperature. it is slightly higher than in drinking water. Okay, it's like maybe we used to see it depends on the surrounding environment. It may be like 20, sometimes maybe 20, sometimes it may be 22, or room temperature it may be 30 degree. Okay, it is now it is initially we used to consider the average temperature of the wastewater is 20 degree. Now it is with 30 degree because day by day that the temperature is increasing. Okay, because of so many factors, global warming and other things. Okay, therefore it is the temperature is now it comes to around like 27, 28 degree, because the temperature plays a major role with the microbial activity. This is very important because most of the wastewater treatment process, municipal wastewater, especially municipal wastewater, it is we are treating the, we are removing the biodegradable organics with the help of microorganisms. Therefore, if you have more temperature, the activity of microbial activity will increase. Okay, but it is having other impact as it reduces the solubility of gases. If you have more temperature, it reduces the solubility of the gases. For example, you are assume that this is a river, you are discharging the wastewater. Then maybe without treatment, assume that without treatment you are discharging. Then if you have more temperature here, it may affect the solubility of oxygen. That means it may affect the transfer of oxygen from atmosphere to the river, because the solubility will come down with the higher temperatures. Therefore, the water may not receive high amount of dissolved oxygen from atmosphere. Therefore, you have both like positive as well as negative because of the temperature. One point, microbial activity will be influenced by temperature, but at the other point, like it may affect the solubility of the gases. Therefore, these two are it is very important with respect to the temperature. Then color. Okay, by seeing the sewage, if it is brown color or gray color, it indicates that it may be recently originated, or we can say it's a fresh sewage. Okay, maybe while washing the utensils in the kitchen, you can see that color of the wastewater. But if you are storing that one for some period of time, then it may turns like a dark color or black color. That indicates that it's called septic sewage. That means the sewage is there is no dissolved oxygen content in that. It is completely with organics, and then there is no dissolved oxygen. Therefore, the color itself indicates that if it is a fresh sewage, have some dissolved oxygen, recently originated, you can see. But if it is a septic, means like it is a brown, dark brown color. Okay, especially you can see on the road near the drains, you can see the black color. Okay, that means that it is completely devoid of dissolved oxygen. Okay, that is a good indicator for dissolved oxygen. Then odor. Okay, fresh sewage is like it is relatively okay, it is fine. It will not give any bad odor, but if it is a septic sewage, that means the indication is that it is inducing methane, hydrogen sulfide gases in the anaerobic conditions. Therefore, these are the main reasons that septic sewage is having like a foul odor. Okay, and then industrial wastewater generally characteristics odors. Characteristics means it depends on process. And then turbidity, generally we are not giving that much importance in wastewater for the turbidity. It is generally caused by suspended solids. Generally caused by suspended solids. Okay, I think I will stop with this. You can go through the content, what are things we have discussed today.